how are you all doing? I hope you're all well and welcome to another video. So we have an interesting video for today. I don't know if you've heard or not, but the Premier League fixtures for season 2023-2024 just came out earlier today in the morning. So now we know the starting fixtures for all of the Premier League teams, and we can look at those fixtures and see who has the best starting couple of games, who has the worst, and we can start deciding about which players we like in our team for the start of the FPL season. Now, true, it might be too early, but if you are one of those players that absolutely loves FPL, just like me, you would be excited about this. And I personally don't think it's too early. I'm already planning and trying to figure out which players I would like to start the season with. So yeah, let's go through the fixtures of some of the teams. We are not gonna talk about all of the teams because it would take an hour probably. So we're gonna look at the more popular teams, and we're gonna focus on the first 6 to 8, I would say, fixtures. In the past, I used to focus at the first 4 fixtures only, but now I think it might be a little too short term, a little too risky, and that could potentially lead to the team to an early chip. So that's why I'm now looking a little further. So we're gonna focus on game week 6 till game week 8. That should be plenty of fixtures. So let's start with some of the popular teams. Now, the first team I want to talk about is the champions from last season. So Manchester City. The first fixture of this season is going to be Burnley away for Manchester City. So Burnley, the newly promoted team, but they did absolutely dominate the championship next season. That's very important. So I think Burnley will be a decent team in the Premier League this season. I don't think they will be a pushovers, and I don't really think that teams will score loads of goals against them. I think they will be competitive, so that's important to note. Also, Company is the manager of Burnley, the ex-Manchester City player and a legend, so that's going to be interesting. So other than the first fixture, then they play Newcastle at home. That's a good fixture for the attackers. Sheffield United away, another good fixture for Man City. Fulham at home is the fourth one. Then we have West Ham away, Nottingham Forest at home, Wolves away, and then Arsenal away is the 8th fixture. So as you can see, a very favorable run of fixtures in the start of the season. For Manchester City, they play 2 of the promoted sides in the first 3 game weeks as well. So, and they have a good home fixtures in between those two. So I would say Haaland is an obvious pick for at least for my team, and I hope for your team as well. And then I would possibly look at one more attacking option as well. Now, at the moment, a lot of players from Manchester City seem to be being rumored about potential transfer. So players like Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, and a couple of others are being rumored that are going to leave the club this summer. Now, if, for example, if Mahrez leaves, then that makes the spot on the right wing a very interesting spot for FPL wise. It could open up the space for a very good option for all of us to get. So it's going to be interesting. So we're gonna have to wait and see, but I would definitely look at a second Manchester City attacker for the start of the season. But when it comes to the defenders, I wouldn't be at the moment. I don't think I'm too focused about getting a Man City defender. Maybe only John Stones I would consider, but only if he plays in the mid role that he used to play at the end of next season, but we're gonna have to wait for the preseason friendly games to see that. So yeah, that's the fixtures for Manchester City, quite easy for the start of the season. Now we're gonna stay in Manchester and move to the red side of the city. So let's see Manchester United and let's see how their starting fixtures look. So their first fixture is going to be Wolves at home. Then they play Spurs away, so away at the top 6 side, that's a hard fixture. Then they play Nottingham Forest at home, a good fixture, but game 4 Arsenal away, another hard fixture. Then they play Brighton at home, who last season were pretty competitive against Man United and played some good games and didn't really have a bad performance, so that's important to note because I think this will be a hard fixture for Man United as well. Then they go away to Burnley and they have two home fixtures against Crystal Palace and Brentford. So when it comes to Man United, I would say it's not the easiest starting fixtures for them. So two away games against traditional top 6 teams and some easy home games in between, but because of these away games, I would say at the moment my thought about Man United is that I might only get Marcus Rashford in the team, but if he stays as a midfielder in the game, so if he's moved to a attacker or a striker, I might not even get him. But other than that, I would say I'm most likely not going to start with any other Man United players in the team, and I'm gonna wait at least until this Brighton game uh, to and then I might start getting some couple of other Man United players in the team. Now another team that finished in the top 4 last season, Newcastle United. So they have a very hard start to the season. So in their 5 opening fixtures, they play against teams that finished ninth or higher in the last season. So a very hard start for them. They play Aston Villa, who were great last season. Then they go away to the Premier League champions. Then they play Liverpool, another hard fixture, Brighton away, yet another hard fixture, and Brentford, who played quite well last season. So the starting fixtures for Newcastle are not very good, and at the moment I think I'm trying my best to avoid their players. I guess I won't be starting the season with Trippier, and I probably won't be getting any of their attackers as well, and I would look to get in some of their players after game week 6 when their fixtures turn and they become quite easy. Now the last team that finished in the top 4 last season, Arsenal. Let's look at their fixtures. So they start the season with Nottingham Forest at home. That's an amazing feature for Arsenal. I remember last season they absolutely battered Nottingham Forest. I believe they won 5-0. Saka had a great game. Unfortunately, he got injured and had to be subbed off, but before that, he was amazing in that game, as was the whole Arsenal team. Then they play Palace away, a good game for them to score a couple of goals in, and then they have two home fixtures, Fulham at home and Man United at home. So they have 3 home fixtures in the first 4 game weeks. After that, their fixtures are decent as well. They play Everton away, Bournemouth away, 2 good fixtures, and they play Spurs at home, which the North London derby always has lots of goals. So, sorry. So I expect Arsenal to score quite a lot of goals in the start of next season. So I would say my plan for Arsenal is to get at least one attacker, maybe even two. So Saka and Odegaard seem to be the most interesting options at the moment. I could also potentially go for a defender as well, but it would have to be a cheaper one. So I'm looking at a Saliba potentially if he is fit. He could be a cheap and a nailed option into the Arsenal defense, so he could be an interesting option to consider because obviously the fullbacks are going to be a lot more expensive than they were last season. Now, let's go to Brighton, another team that played amazingly last season. They have an amazing fixture, probably the best fixture in the start of the season. They play Luton at home. Luton Town, I don't expect them to do well in the Premier League. I think they will be the team to target, and I'm certainly looking to start doing that from the very beginning of this season. So Brighton, they play Luton at home, like I said, then they go away to Wolves, West Ham at home, Newcastle at home, Man United away, and Bournemouth at home. So very good starting features for Brighton as well. 3 home games in the first 4, and I would say I'm looking at getting Estupinian in my team. He's been super attacking last season, and I expect him to continue like that at the start of this season as well. Now I could also go for one attacker as well. It's going to be interesting to see who that attacker might be. I mean, it might be Mitoma, but Ferguson could also be an interesting option up front if he is the first choice. I expect his price won't be as high, so he might be a good option for the start of the season. Now, another team I want to talk about is Tottenham. So Spurs, as you all know, they have a new coach, so I expect a new coach bounce, new manager bounce from them. I expect them to start the season strong, and their first 8 fixtures are decent. In the game 2 they play Man United at home, but they tend to play well against Man United. Then they have a couple of easy fixtures, and they play away to Arsenal, which they once again tend to score goals in that game as well. So I'm looking to start the season with Harry Kane in my team. Now, Brentford away could be a tricky fixture for them in game week 1. Brentford do tend to play well against the stronger teams, or that they did in the last season. So I might go for a Spurs player from game week 2, or I might just start from the beginning of the season. They play the 3 promoted sides in the first 8 fixtures, and like I said, Harry Kane is very likely to be in my team at the start of the season, and I might even look for a second option as well. Now let's go to another team. Chelsea is the next team to talk about. So Chelsea, they start the season with Liverpool at home. So this is a derby game. It might not be the easiest of fixtures for Chelsea, but they also have a new coach, Pochettino, who was a Spurs coach at some point. So I expect them to play well in this game as well. And then after the Liverpool game, they have a couple of very easy fixtures. So they play West Ham away, then they play Luton Town at home, they play Nottingham Forest at home, Bournemouth away, Aston Villa at home, Fulham away, Burnley away. So very good fixtures for Chelsea at the start of the season. Obviously they were awful last season, but I expect that to turn around this season, hopefully for them. So I'm looking at potentially getting a Chelsea defender maybe. I think their defense is the stronger point of the team, and I'm not really looking at any attacker at the moment from Chelsea, but I guess we'll have to wait and see how which players they buy and how those players will do. Now, Liverpool is one of the top 6 teams that I will look to avoid at least in the first game week. So they play Chelsea away, game week 1, that's another great fixture, and game week 3 and game week 4 are tough fixtures as well. Newcastle away and Aston Villa, another team that I think will have a very good season. So I'm probably at the moment, I think I will start the season without a Liverpool defender, and then I might consider getting Salah in game week 2 for the Bournemouth at home game, and I might captain him in this game. But yeah, that's the plan with Liverpool. And the last team I want to talk about for today is Brentford. So Brentford have 3 home games. So they play Spurs at home, Fulham away, then they play Palace at home, Bournemouth at home, Newcastle away, Everton at home. So they have 3 home games in the first 4 fixtures, and they don't play any of the last season's top 4 until game week 8. So there could be some interesting attacking options for Brentford. Now Ivan Toney is not going to be part of their team, so Mbeumo could be an interesting option, but I suppose we'll have to wait and see. Now, yeah, that's everything that I have for today. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.